listening to Tassie Encounters Moments on Faith FM, and we're coming to you from Tasmania, right across Australia. Each weekday at 9 a.m, you can hear what the Bible says about past, current and future events. You can learn how to study the Bible more effectively. You can get to know who God is, why we're here, and where we're going. And you can experience personal encounters with Jesus. I'm your host, Jason Cook, and today David Leo is back in the studio with us. Welcome, David.
Thank you, Jason.
We're talking about parenting this week, parenting for faith.
Yes.
And sort of inspired by some recent
seminars
that you went to.
Or workshops, yeah.
Workshops, yeah. It's good.
Rachel Turner, and her website's called Parenting for Faith, if you want to check it out. Yeah.
Now, we titled yesterday's program, the previous episode, Pros and Cons of Parenting. I guess we sort of had a look at a bit of the overall challenges and some of the blessings you get from being a parent and the personal challenges that it creates for us.
Correct.
But today we're having a look at the challenges of parenting in a worldview of faith.
Yeah. And so yesterday we talked about parenting itself is not easy. It is a challenge in itself. But then when you have a particular worldview, when I say worldview, just imagine everyone looks at the same world, but there are specific glasses spectacles that we wear, and that's a worldview. How we see the world is is what our worldview is. Now, from this, from where we sit, we are a Christian radio station. You and me are Christian people. We are Christian Seventh-day Adventists. And so we see the world in a way where we believe that God created the world in 6 days and rested on the Sabbath. And
even as Seventh-day Adventists, we have a slightly different worldview in some areas as well to other Christians.
That's right. Yeah, and so, then you've got other faiths like we've got the Islam faith who try and bring up their children in the Islam faith. You've got Buddhists. Well, actually, I don't know if Buddhists try to do that, but the kids see how their parents are and, they just follow suit. Now, in the Western world, whatever faith that you see the world through, whatever lens or spectacles you look at the world, it's a challenge because in the Western world, we are not so much a religious world. If we are a religion, I'm going to call the religion, consumeristic religion.
Materialistic.
Right? Materialistic, everything is about acquiring things for yourself to get ahead and to ensure, I suppose, if you're parenting, ensure that your kids are ahead too. Now, those aren't bad things. Of course, they're not bad things, but when we become obsessed with these things, it could really twist your understanding of the world. If you see the world as a take, that it's just a massive smorgasbord and whoever gets in first, gets to get that piece of the pie, then, that worldview will be passed on to your kids. But, I left out another worldview, a worldview of atheism. But there is no God. This is the way that we live and there is nothing after death. And
that's another form of materialism in terms of we are just matter.
Right.
We're purely matter.
So I reckon what we just talked about in the Western world, when I talk about the Western world, countries like Australia, New Zealand, America, England, very, very well-to-do countries, they trying to teach your children, trying to pass on faith in these well-to-do countries is pretty difficult because faith often comes through struggles, right? When you're going through things and, man, God helped us through this. That's what we often have. But in a country where your child is, if you're going to put your child through the schooling system, they're going to be exposed to other children that live different lives. I remember my experience. I grew up in a pluralistic society. I grew up with a Hindu friend, which in primary school, and when I went to share my corned beef and taro with him, and he said, "I don't eat beef." I thought, "Oh, this is the worst thing ever. What's wrong? You okay?" And he goes, "Oh no, it's a sacred animal." Wow! And then I had a friend from Hong Kong who was a Buddhist. And, I had friends from all types of backgrounds and they were teaching me things that I'd never heard of before. I'm telling my mum and dad, when I went to my Hindu friend's house, they had these pictures of these gods around and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And, for mum and dad, they probably didn't realize the risk of oh wow, he's going to learn other faiths, learn what other people believe. You know, I had friends that didn't go to church at all that shared with me. In fact, I'll tell you this other story that really blew my socks off. I joined a group called Pathfinders in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, right? So I grew up in a Samoan Seventh-day Adventist church. And when I was 10 years old, we went to a camporee. We're actually going to a camporee next week in Victoria. And I camped next to a Cook Island Pathfinder club, and across from me was a bar like Caucasian club, and next to us was a Chinese club, like from Chinese church. And I was like, what? I thought Adventists were only Samoans. Like, so I remember when I went home and told Mum and Dad, "Hey, Mum and Dad, did you know that?" And they looked at each other and went, "Oh, what have we done? You know, we didn't tell our kid that our church is global. You know, we come in all races, all countries." And I thought, wow, that's amazing. So on both sides, you know, when you're trying to bring up your child in the faith, you are going to be challenged by the exposure of these kids, of your kids, being in other places. So what do you do? What do you do when they get to a certain age and they start telling you that, hey, they don't actually align with what you believe? You know, as parents, do we just take it on the chin or do we say, no, as long as you live in this household, you will accept my beliefs, or do you reject them altogether? You know, like, I don't know what any other options that I haven't covered, but I reckon those are the three probably simple options. But so if parenting is already difficult and then you have a particular faith, then what are you supposed to do when your children don't follow that faith? Any thoughts on that, Jason? You're sharing something interesting before.
I think it's hard, but ultimately I believe personally that we, in the context of our faith in Christianity, God does not force us to follow his way. He does give us a choice. And as I think as children, we do our best to teach our values to our children and our beliefs. As they become adults, we have to actually let them make their own choices. And sometimes that's hard, but I think it's really important that we don't reject the person, our son or a daughter, because they might have a different belief, or they might be exploring something a bit different to the way we see the world. I think we still need to love that person. You know,
Absolutely.
I think God calls us to love even our enemies.
Yeah.
Our enemies aren't going to see things the way we see things. So.
Yeah. And not just love them, actually continue to guide them.
Yeah.
With the experience and wisdom that we have.
Yeah.
Don't
maintain
just
a relationship.
Yeah. Continue, because they are younger. They need that guidance and experience. I don't know if we've got time to go through the story, but there's actually a story in the Bible in is it 2 Samuel?
1 Samuel,
chapter 2, and it's we won't read the whole thing, but if you can read verses. So Eli, he's the priest. He's a priest that comes from the line of priests. He's got two sons, and these two sons.
They should have also been priests.
Correct.
I think they were they?
They are, because the Levites were always, it was the children. But the line, something happens here. Could you read verses 15 to 17, please?
It says, "Moreover, before the fat was burned, the priest's servant would come and say to the man who was sacrificing, 'Give meat for the priest to roast, for he will not accept boiled meat from you, but only raw.' And if the man said to him, 'Let them burn the fat first, and then take as much as you wish,' he would say, 'No, you must give it now, or if not, I will take it by force.' Thus the sin of the young men was very great in the sight of the Lord, for the men treated the offering of the Lord with contempt."
Okay, so we've got two sons that are taking on the responsibility, sons of the priests, but treating the work of the Lord with contempt. We find out later on they're doing worse things. But at the very end of the story is God now removes the priesthood from the Levites, because it finishes here, and Samuel is called to minister as a priest. You know?
So
not just a priest, as a prophet as well.
Samuel was the young boy who was basically dedicated to God. It was Hannah, wasn't it?
That's right.
Who prayed to God to say, "Give me
it's
a son.
Great story.
You give me a son, and I'll dedicate him to you."
Yeah, I hope Samuel's in the story of the book that we're giving away. But yeah, it's a great story. But the point I wanted to why I bring this story up is Eli is a priest, right? And the Bible tells us that Eli didn't really do everything he did as a dad to correct this thing, right? In the Bible, I can't remember where it is, Jason, but the Bible says, those who I love, I rebuke and chasten.
Yes.
And
there's a couple of places.
Right, okay.
One in the New Testament, I think one in Proverbs somewhere.
So, another place where New Testament's quoting the Old Testament. But isn't that true? You know, I mean, if you see your kids going a certain way, you correct it, and Eli left it, and then God, through another person, said to Eli, the priest was going to be removed, and Eli died a sad death. You know, and the boys too, the sons. So there was that curse that came, and it's
I probably should clarify my statements from earlier too. I'm not talking about you know, as a parent, I think it's important to raise up a child with the beliefs.
Absolutely.
But as they become adults and their own person,
you can't force.
You no longer have that ability to control and you know,
that's right.
Dictate.
I mean, you're going to hear things your kids say that just going to hurt you to the bone. I mean, just happened to me recently. I was sharing with you, Jason, where my kid said something that really hurt me, and I had to not respond and hurt. I had to say, hey, that statement really hurts. But I didn't realize you saw it that way, you know? So you gotta be ready for that, for that pain to come. But again, navigate, explore, and never reject them. You know, God's love towards us, loved us while we were yet sinners. And, we should do the same thing for our children.
We need to take on the same attitude as Christ and as God did.
That's the best way.
He keeps loving us. He keeps forgiving us.
Yeah.
He keeps calling us back.
Correct.
Time and time again, even though we stray away. So, yeah, absolutely. What's the greatest value that your parents passed down to you? That's our question to contemplate this week. We'd love to hear from you, so do text us in on 0488 880891.
This program is made possible by the support of Adventist World Radio.
Our book offer this week is called Superheroes. Our code is TEM17. Text that into 0488 880891. TEM17. Superheroes by Bradley Booth. It's a magazine book, and contained here are the stories of the greatest heroes since the beginning of time. Stand with Moses on the mountaintop as he receives the laws that would change the world. Witness David, the young shepherd boy, conquer the giant. Be inspired by the bravery of Esther as she risked her life for her people. And read about the greatest hero of all, Jesus, who risked everything for you. Let these stories from the Bible be a source of encouragement to you and your family as you read them. Give your children a real hero they can look up to today. That's our book offer today, TEM17. Text it into 0488 880891. Next time, we're going to be talking about building a culture of parenting, or parenting talks.
Correct, yeah.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Communication between kids and parents. Yeah, parents. So do tune in, same time for our next episode. This is Hope of the Broken World by Sailor. May you encounter Jesus more today.
In the beginning, into the darkness, the Spirit's moving upon the waters. You spoke the words, let there be light. Out of the chaos came the promise. The universe rose and applauded when you commanded the newborn sun to rise. You are the day spring, you are the morning star. Creation's splendor speaks of who you are. You are salvation, you are the joy of the earth. Restoration comes, hope of the broken world. Into my weakness, into my darkness, your Spirit's moving upon my heart, and you speak the words, let there be light. Into my chaos comes your promise, the new is rising, The old has passed on, you are reviving and making all things right. You are the day spring, you are the morning star. Creation splendor speaks of who you are. You are salvation, you are the joy of the earth. Restoration comes, hope of the broken world. Arise, shine, the glory of the Lord is risen. Arise, shine, the glory of the Lord is risen. Arise, shine, the glory of the Lord is risen. Arise, shine, the glory of the Lord is risen. You are the day spring, you are the morning star. Creation splendor speaks of who you are. You are salvation, you are the joy of the earth. Restoration comes, hope of the broken world. Restoration comes, hope of the broken world. Into my weakness, into my darkness, your spirit's moving upon my heart, and you speak the words, let there be light.
This program has been made possible by the support of Adventist World Radio.